Hello, and welcome to the Life and Ministry podcast, where three pastors hang out each week to have lighthearted and engaging conversations about life and ministry. For more information, visit us on our website at lifeandministry.net. Welcome, gentlemen. It's now November.
Hey, we're experiencing fall in the great state of Florida, which means
it's only like 85 outside.
That's right.
But a week from now, I heard on the news this morning.
40s? Is
in
that
the
true?
40s.
40s.
Wow.
40 in Florida, believe it or not. And we are all rejoicing at that.
I was going to say, I'm about to pull out the weighted blanket to sleep under, man.
Now, I'm not a big fan of extended 40s, but I would definitely take different 40s at different times of the year. I'm all for that. So
I'm with you on that.
There's a radio station already doing 24-hour Christmas music right now.
Hey, I'm all about that, guys.
No. Boys, come on.
My Christmas tree is up. My lights on the outside of my house are up. Yes, we love Jesus more than you.
For every Christmas light lit before Thanksgiving, another reindeer's killed. So
that's our plan, bro. That's our plan,
man. Just know that.
That's our plan. I mean, we are all about killing reindeers. Sign me up.
That's it, man. There's moments like this when I just think I'm pretty sure hell is going to be involved in putting up Christmas trees and Christmas lights. So that's probably going to be one portion of eternal torment.
I would agree on the stringing lights.
Yeah.
It's like and hell is where you have to find the one that's burned out.
That's right. And replace it.
Yeah.
Well, that just tells you how impatient I am. I don't do that garbage. I mean,
you just get a new set.
One string of lights is cheap enough. I just go get another set. I don't got time for that or the patience for it.
All right. So how many Christmas trees do you have in your house, Dan?
We have one. Although we did have two one year because someone showed up at our door, which was awesome, with a live tree as a surprise to our family because they knew how much we loved Christmas. We had no place to put it, but we found room. We actually moved our dining room table.
Oh, wow.
And moved the dining room table. We ate in the lanai. And so we had to rearrange furniture, but it was the only real tree we've ever had because we always put it up early. A real tree would never last that long.
So listeners, if you're out there and you would like to gift Dan and Lori and their family a Christmas tree, if you will get in touch with me, Michael at gonorthriver.org, and if you'll just reach out and say, hey, I'd like to donate to this, and I would love for us to be able to deliver somewhere around 4 or 5 live trees to Dan's house. And we can get those set up in the house, one on the front porch, one on the lanai. I think that would be splendid. So get in touch with me, and we will make that happen. Make sure we post some pictures of that. So
there's a bunch of there is one listener, one of our listeners. She goes to our church. Her family has been sending me memes about how evil it is to put up your tree this early.
Yes.
Because of course she found out that we did that. And I promptly sent her a meme that I found back, which I thought was great. It says, why would you go straight to Christmas right after Halloween? What about Thanksgiving? And this guy says, the pilgrims were murderers and turkey tastes like napkins.
That's good.
Although fried turkey is the bomb. You guys ever fried?
I was going to say deep fried turkey is a real deal.
Oh,
yes.
We are doing our Thanksgiving with the family this weekend, and it's going to be white meat, but it's going to be pork chops because none of us like turkey.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now, Scott, have you ever fried a turkey?
I have not.
You got to try it, man.
And we will.
I should have your families over one night, and we should all fry turkey.
I like it. I can do that. No, we will beat you guys with the quantity of Christmas decorations when we get it down. I have 13 boxes at least. There may be more in my attic.
Wow.
That our house literally gets transformed into, as my sister said when we first got married, it looks like Christmas barfed in your house.
There you go.
That's awesome.
Scott, speaking of Christmas, for those of us that may be watching and seeing us live, You have a statement up on a whiteboard behind you.
I do. I have a
that-
controversial statement.
Yes, our listeners by podcast won't be able to see that, so I want to read it, and please send all of your hate mail to at Scott Douglas.
At Scott M. Douglas. Go
Yes.
ahead, at me on this one. Change
Yes.
my mind.
So he
Okay?
says Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
Change my mind. Tell me
All
it's
right.
not.
So
Tell me
listeners,
it's
we
not.
need
Tell
you
me how this
to
is more of a Christmas movie than any of these stupid ones on Hallmark. Sorry,
Yeah.
Carrie. They're dumb, okay?
So
I despise Hallmark movies.
So you need to at Scott M. Douglas and
Yeah.
let him know some hate for making the statement that Die Hard is a Christmas movie. So
Change my mind.
So just since we're talking about it, what classifies as a Christmas movie? Does it have to be taken place during the Christmas season, or does it actually have to have a Christmas theme? What would you say?
Well, I mean, I think that a couple of things come to mind. I think there has to be some elements of Christmas involved in the movie. I personally think that. So whether that's season, time of year, or decorations, or something like that. So, of course, the greatest Christmas movie of all times, which is 15 years old this year, is Elf. So
Yeah.
That's
just
a great
wanna-
one.
All
That
right,
is a
put
good
that
one.
out there.
You sit on a throne of lies.
Yes, that's right. You smell like,
Smell like
beef and
cheese.
cheese. Yeah. So I would say that's number one. Number two is Home Alone.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Number three
I
is
don't know if I'd put that at number 2, but
no. You got to put that at
decent.
number two, and then
you shoot
number
your eye out, man. You shoot your eye out. I
that
want a
one.
BB gun.
It's bad.
What?
That's a bad movie.
What?
That's a bad.
What? Oh,
Hang
Michael.
on. Number three is It's a Wonderful Life. So you got Elf, you got Home Alone, and then you got It's a Wonderful Life, and then all the other Christmas movies are just like
The only thing Christmas about It's a Wonderful Life is that it gets shown every year at Christmas.
That's
Yeah.
true.
It's a Christmas movie.
but it's in the right
Hard.
season, though. It's in the right season. It's
Uh,
snowing, all that kind of stuff. But between those and the remaining Christmas movies, as the scriptures say, there's a great chasm that separates them. So
White Christmas. I go Griswold's 1, White Christmas 2, 3 is Elf. So
Yeah, I Christmas Story is still one of my all-time favorite Christmas movies.
if Christmas Story doesn't get
Griswold's is
played-
great. Griswold's is great, no doubt
Yeah.
about it. Cousin Eddie, you just can't beat that.
Well, and I typically go on these for quotability. So you
that's
know,
good.
so that's why that's why Christmas Story is in the top 5. But I get the giggles before the scenes happen in Christmas Vacation. So
There you go.
Mhm.
yeah.
Anyway,
So let's transition for a little bit, Dan, as I pull out the bottle of water here.
oh yeah,
I'm
let's
drinking.
let's
so-
give our listeners an update.
Yeah, give an update on the Waterminder app and your water consumption. So
Yeah, we are 4 weeks since Michael challenged me to a friendly wager.
threw down the gauntlet.
We're Southern Baptist, so I don't think we could say bet. So, but Michael challenged me to a friendly wager
Yep.
that I would still be using the Waterminder app
6 weeks later.
6 weeks, which is 2 weeks from today on Thanksgiving Day, and I still am.
Okay.
So, and I have the evidence to prove it because it logs it in my iPhone every time I log it. So I will be gladly showing Michael while we're sitting down at Starbucks and he's ordering me my $10 drink because I'm going to make sure to do it up that day. I'm going to throw in every syrup, every extra shot I can. I don't care if it's disgusting, but Michael's paying $10 for a drink.
Almond milk, get everything.
Yeah.
It's just
That's,
like,
uh,
when you earn your free drink after 125 stars, you know what I mean? It's just like, you just go all out. I mean,
That's it.
it's just, because you can.
Yeah.
It's like, I already spent all this, like, thousands of dollars just to earn this free drink.
That's
And
right.
I might as well just do it up as much as I can with this one.
That's it.
But-
I'm waiting. I'm anticipating as kids get out of school the week of Thanksgiving that it's going to throw you off and you're going to forget for about 3 or 4 days there, and your dreams of a $10 latte go down the tube.
Now,
So
let me be very clear. You said you won't be using this in 6 weeks. You didn't say that you won't have any missing days. That was exactly your words.
all right, now
Now, wait a
Using
minute.
it, using
minute.
it would have been. I would assume.
I can lawyer up on you here, bro. Come on.
Using would be daily over the 6 weeks. You log your water. So if you haven't done that, Dan, you have already lost your
No.
wager. So
No.
Scott, you're
Not
gonna have
true.
to play referee here. So would you assume? Because I would assume
You
it
won't
would
be
be a-
using it 6 weeks from today. That's what he said. You won't be using it 6 weeks from today.
that it
So
would
are we
be
going
a
6 weeks off of the recording or 6 weeks off of the broadcast?
Well, we released that episode that same day. So.
That same
Yeah.
day. Okay.
So my thought would be, Scott, now you back me up on this because this would make sense, that using the app would be a daily logging of water intake for the Water Minder app. Wouldn't you say that?
I would say you're thinking regular usage. So I would go 5 out of 7 days. So if you've been
No
doing
problem.
it 5 out of 7 days for the
So
last
5
6
out of-
weeks, Dan, you owe Michael a $10 Frappuccino with everything in it.
No, the other way. If
Oh,
I
the
had him
other
in
way.
if I
Oh,
had
okay.
him in, no, he owes me if I am using it.
You didn't
So
put skin in the game. That's a one-sided. That's a
No,
one-sided.
no,
limit.
he would-
if I don't
he
do it,
didn't
then I owe him.
That's right.
Oh, okay, I got you. Okay. I
So
was
what
like,
we're
oh,
saying, what we're saying is a 6 week period of time. So that's 42 days.
Yeah. If you hit 30, we'll go 35 out of 42. You hit
35 out of
42.
Oh, not a
Right.
problem. Not a problem.
So how many
And
days?
you
have
can't backtrack. You can't backlog.
Oh no, dude, that would be
Okay.
dishonest.
Okay. All right.
Absolutely, that would be dishonest. But I may have missed 1 or 2 days out of the last 4 weeks.
Well, you get to usually drop your lowest quiz grade, so let's just
Yeah.
do that. Okay.
Not a problem.
I mean, everybody gets a participation trophy these days. So, jeez,
Dude,
Man.
you got to be more precise with your words, man. Come on.
man,
You're doing
listeners,
contracts now with your church building and
listeners,
and mortgages, and come on, man.
do you hear what I'm hearing, listeners? Because what I'm hearing is this millennial garbage of everybody gets a
Oh.
trophy.
Anyway, well, let's talk about something our listeners might care about.
You're talking about Georgia beating Kentucky? Is that? Oh no.
Well, that's pretty cool news, but I wasn't
That
referring
was
to it.
cool
But
news.
it
And
is
Kentucky
Kentucky
was
related.
down.
It is Kentucky related.
Down. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Kentucky
It is
related.
So there is a candidate now for the president of the International Mission Board,
Yes.
and he has some Kentucky roots. Scott is very familiar with him. So, Scott,
Yeah.
why don't you briefly tell us about the new candidate for International Mission Board?
Yeah, the name that's come out from the search committee is Paul Chitwood. Paul has served as a pastor in Kentucky for probably about 20 years. Number of churches, most recently at First Baptist Mount Washington, which is a Louisville suburb. He's originally a Tennessee Volunteer. We're not going to hold that against him, but they just have bad taste in football there. But that's okay. But Dr. Chitwood has done a great job of leading Kentucky Baptist for the last several years to a greater cooperative program effectiveness, greater giving, greater percentage of money being sent through Louisville out to the nations, out to our seminaries, to church planting. He's navigated a couple of difficult channels or difficult journeys with a couple of colleges in Kentucky that have wanted to cut ties with their historic roots, and he's handled it well. He's a statesman. He's a faithful pastor. He's a Southern grad, so I'm a fan of that. But what's really going to be great to watch is just a statesman-like vision for the IMB to funnel its resources, to leverage its ability to get the gospel to those who haven't heard. And I think he's a great candidate. Truthfully, I was really surprised that was the pick. I figured it would be a missionary, but I can just say Kentucky Baptists are in a much healthier state now than they were before Dr. Chitwood got there. So he's done what all of us hope to do. He's left it better than he found it, and I think it'll be a great hire.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
That's
Michael?
that's good. Yeah, just a couple of things that come to mind with Dr. Chitwood, and I'll be honest, I've heard his name sparingly in my time in SBC life. So I would say the vast majority of Southern Baptists have no clue who Dr. Chitwood is.
Yep.
Which I think is a good thing in the sense of I think the search team, when they brought David Platt in, David Platt had a massive platform, big name guy, you know, speaking in all the conferences on the circuit kind of deal. And I think that in some sense, I think Dr. Platt did a lot of good things at the IMB and got it headed in a healthier direction than where it was. But I think that the person who is put into that position, the thought process is that's kind of a you retire here position, not a you step in and do it for 4 years and then step back out into the pastorate. So I think that shocked a lot of people when Platt announced that he was going to transition out of the IMB into the pastorate. And so I think that probably swung the pendulum in the other direction of we're going to get a guy who, you know, maybe doesn't have that massive type of platform, you know, I don't want to say cult of personality, but somebody who's a well-known name within evangelical life because of the platform that they have. So, so I think we saw that happen, and I think that's probably a good thing in that direction. I was surprised also, Scott, as you said, that they did not get a career missionary to step into that role. But I did notice in Dr. Chitwood's statement that he has said his executive vice president will be a career missionary. That's something that he released just as soon as he was announced. And I think that's a healthy direction. I think that, to me, gives great encouragement and confidence that that he recognizes that he is, even though he had been the head of the trustees, chairman of trustees for the IMB for a period of time during his pastoring days, I think he recognizes that he needs somebody at his right hand who is a career missionary and can speak into some of the challenges and needs of missionaries within the IMB. So there you go. That's my thought on that.
Very good, guys. Yeah, very good. Well, yeah, I'll try. I don't know much about Dr. Chitwood, so I'm excited about what you guys feel about him, and grateful for the future of our International Mission Board.
Follow him. He's got a very active social media presence at Dr. Paul Chitwood, Dr. Paul Chitwood.
I did follow him the other day as soon as I learned what the nomination was.
Yeah. And so you can get to know him on that. It's a great way to get to hear his kind of passion for ministry. So yeah, excited to see what comes out of this.
All right, guys, well, let's transition to our main topic of the day. And there was a recent video on social media that was shared by Pastor Judah Smith from City Church. He pastors City Church, which is in Seattle, Washington. And it's caused some waves on social media, like everything does these days. Seems like there's a new controversy every day, isn't there?
Yep.
Twitter and Facebook are exhausting. But anyway, but yeah, this one caught a lot of people's attention. And Judah was promoting a new campus that is going to be an online campus, essentially, and was going to be called Church Home, which is now an app in the App Store, and I think Google Play and iOS app stores as well, Apple app stores. And the whole concept is that you could do church on your phone. You don't need to go to a physical location anymore. And actually, when you download the app, there's an opening video there with him and his wife, Chelsea, that basically says that you download this app and you could have, quote, the full church experience, end quote. How do you feel about that? And is this necessarily a biblical model? Is this what Jesus envisioned? That in this digital age, there's no need necessarily to attend a physical body that you could be accountable to and live life together with, that social media, digital church is all we need. What do you think about that?
I think in the quote that you just made, that may answer a lot of a lot of the questions that people may have if we view church as an experience. And that is the word that is kind of being touted currently as for Sunday mornings. Come, experience something, or our worship experience, or something like that. It tends to push the idea, or at least promote the idea, that that gathering together as the body of Christ is primarily about an experience, a production, something like that, and pushes it away from, in my mind, certain things that are fundamental to being a part of the body of Christ. So when I hear immediately, you can experience church without having to actually go to a physical location, I think we would all sit back and say, we affirm that church is not a building. So I don't think any of the three of us would argue
Correct.
with that statement.
Right.
Church is not a building. It's not a physical location. Church is people, believers that have covenanted together and gathered together to fulfill the mission that God's given for the church to fulfill, which is to make disciples of all nations. That's what a church actually is. So just, there's simple questions that I would ask, and some things I would want to know. How does that actually happen online? If you read all the studies that are coming out on social connectedness and the lack thereof that social media provides, you have to begin to ask those same questions when it comes to relationships in a app church environment. Are there true relationships that are going to be able to be formed in that?
Well, he says if you click through the app, there's different. Not to interrupt you, Michael, but since you're talking about that exactly,
yep.
He also says in that video that you could experience real, genuine relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Real, genuine relationships. And if you click on the Connect tab on the very bottom of the app, it says here, we're better together, although we're not together, essentially.
Wait,
which is
the app actually says that?
Yeah, where it says, I don't know if you. It's
no. The second part was not actually on the app.
No, we're better together.
Right, but then you said even though we're not together. Yeah.
Well,
I was just making sure.
Well, he essentially says it because it says we believe it's possible to foster true community in spite of our digital lives. So essentially, it's what he's saying. We're better together even though we're not together.
Yeah.
That's my paraphrase of it.
Now, see, I would affirm that statement, but I think we're talking about two totally different things.
Exactly.
It's possible for us to foster real authentic community in spite of our digital lives, but I don't think an app is going to create the opportunity for that to happen. Yeah.
Well,
and I think the research shows that. I mean, the research shows that even as the spread of social media and friends and connectivity and all of that has amped up over the last number of years, that people feel more isolated, more alone, more disconnected, even though they have all of those resources and all of those tools and should have all of that.
I agree.
That connectedness, and yet they don't feel that. So.
Yeah, I think one of my biggest problems is that this is not being pitched as a necessarily like in addition to, you know what I mean? Or this is not like, I mean, look,
go here for more content.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, look, hey, we all believe in, we love books, right? So books are content. The three of us love to listen to podcasts. We listen to leadership podcasts. I mean, we believe in the value of the digital age and the wealth of information that is that really is at our disposal. I mean, we live in a wonderful time to be alive. This is not being pitched as an addition to. This is being pitched as a supplement. You take this instead of. And so in that opening video that was shared on Twitter, he said in that video that people always ask us, hey, when are you going to open up a campus in Chicago or Nashville or New York City or wherever the locations you mentioned? And the question is, we are, and we're going to be everywhere. And so what is being pitched to them is, hey, instead of going to a church in Chicago, just download the app and you're part of our church.
Mhm.
I have a problem with that. I mean, this is replacing the need for local church. This is just not, hey, let's, I'm accountable to my local body and my local pastor. And hey, I want to grow more. I want to go deeper into my faith. So here's some extra content that can assist me in that. This is the opposite. This is a replacement for the local church. And I think that's detrimental to the gospel advancing.
Yeah, and this is nothing new. I mean, we've had this problem since, people saying that like, I don't have to go to church because I can watch it on TV, and
Right.
There's a place for that probably with people who can't physically be there. But, if we trace the whole idea of what the church is, going back to the New Testament, it's a gathering together of people. So we have that. So can we gather together digitally? Can we gather together online? Sure, we can. Facebook Live, you can have a number of people engaged, but it was a church gathered in a particular place together.
Right. And let's explore that further.
Yeah. So that's where
Acts 2:42.
Yeah.
Right. Describes this first church that gathered together, and 2:42, and they devoted themselves, right, to the apostles' teaching and to the fellowship.
Yeah.
And
prayers
breaking
and breaking bread.
prayers
Yeah.
and serving one another, and the Lord added to their number daily those who were being saved.
Yeah.
And so the key word I think in that whole verse is, and they devoted themselves. There's this commitment. There's a covenant mentality of, I belong to these people, and it's just not some people, whoever's going to show up in an app one Sunday morning that I have no concept of who they are, but it's real people in front of me in the flesh. It's embodied. That I'm accountable to. I mean, we all hide behind our phones. I mean, that's really the tragedy of social media, is it not?
Yeah.
That we could pretend to be whoever we want.
Right.
And out of the 1,000 people I have on my Facebook, boy, I may really genuinely know 30 of them, maybe, if at best. Some of them I haven't seen 30 or 40
dropping
years.
Your followers on Facebook, Dan. Look at you.
Man.
Well,
that was an arbitrary number, but actually I do have about 1,000 people. But anyway, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So, but here's the deal. The deal is, I think it just hinders. It hinders, and I think it's being done with a spirit that's not harmful, but it is harmful. I think what they're doing is obviously they're trying to make their teaching more accessible, right? They want more people underneath their preaching and their teaching, and they want to connect more people. And I think their motives are good, but obviously I don't think it's going to end well.
Well, and I think we talked about this before we came on air. There's obviously a biblical and a theological element to what the church is, what the church does, where it gathers. But on kind of that nuts and bolts practical, it's like we've always joked, that's fine. You can attend John MacArthur's church online, listen to his sermons. But when you're in the hospital, is he going to come visit you? When you die, is he going to bury you? When you are in a crisis, will your and here's the thing is I want to be as open-handed on this one as I can, to a certain extent, because I don't want to sound like get off my lawn kids. So if you do digital campuses, will you please engage us on social media? Will you send Dan an email, send him a hate letter, but tell us how you do this, how you minister pastorally to people digitally, and how do you jive that? That's, for me as a pastor, that's where I go, I'm not among people digitally. We're glad to have people watch our Facebook page or go to our website and all that. It's cool, but I can't pastor them. They can consume content, but that's not the same as live. I hate to use the buzzwords, but it's not organic ministry when you're just doing it through an app or through a screen somehow.
Yeah. See, I would push even beyond that, Scott. You use the word organic. I would use the word incarnational.
Oh, look at you! We're
I
just
mean,
dropping the bomb.
Yeah.
That's
So
a
I mean,
great.
I think you look at that, and certainly by incarnational, we're talking about Jesus taking on flesh, coming to this earth. We're talking about the fact that he was incarnate, hands, flesh, all on this planet with us, alongside us. And I think that a true authentic ministry has an incarnational aspect to it, where it is flesh and blood doing life with other flesh and blood, not through bits and bytes that are in our phones. And so there's just some things that that I would ask in that situation. Scott, you raised some good questions. When you need a pastor to visit you in the hospital, how does that happen virtually? When you need someone to do a funeral for you, how does that happen virtually? When you are going to take communion, how does that happen virtually? Do you pour your own grape juice and get your own bread? I mean, I just don't know.
The answer is yes. I mean,
I guess.
Even the nature of the Lord's Supper, is a community event.
Yeah, absolutely. Same thing with I would say the same thing with baptism.
Right.
So you baptize yourself? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, yes, and we're going to get to that.
Really? Okay.
I'm not even kidding you. I am not even kidding you.
Okay.
So we're going to get there. This gets worse as it goes on.
Oh, goodness.
But anyway, so. But even the nature of the Lord's Supper, it's a community event. Jesus broke bread with disciples. Yeah. Take, eat. This is my body. You just don't do that on your own. The Acts 2:42 church, they broke bread daily in their homes. Right? This is something they did together. Right? But anyway, going to baptism. So there is a section on baptism on there, and Judah has like a 90-second video on there. You can go watch it, and he's teaching the importance of being baptized, and he says you can do this. And there's 3 W's just to remember. Number 1, are you willing? So he says, are you willing to associate yourself with the teachings of Jesus? Not even a call for repentance or asking them if they're born again or anything like that, but just the wording there is very watered down, pun intended.
Good job.
As it is, but it's just, are you willing to associate yourself with the teachings of Jesus? What does that mean? But anyway, that's a whole other theological issue. He then goes further to say, so you need to be willing, you need water, and you need a witness. And no mention of finding somebody else to baptize you. He's basically saying, baptize yourself. Go dunk yourself and have someone take a picture of it. That's what he says.
Which I'm sure. I mean, if my guess would be they're going to be posting those pictures of that.
People baptizing themselves, and the witnesses there essentially to take a picture of it.
Yeah.
So the witness is not baptizing you; you're baptizing yourself and posting the. Yeah. This is.
Well, it's
come on, man. This is Bible 101 here.
I'm with you. Well, and here's just some practical questions that we've raised some questions on that. If that happens, does that baptism number, that salvation, count towards the church's salvations and baptisms in a year?
I'm sure it does, because it's you're their virtual campus,
right? If do they count worship attendance on the basis of how many people are logged into the app at over the course of a week in a 24-hour period, each day? There's just some things, and I just have to ask the question, what is the so let's just say that you could get on board and say, all right, I'm okay with them launching this and doing this. I just asked this question: what does this look like a year down the road, 3 years down the road, 5 years down the road, in a person's life who buys into this model, who says, I can do church online? I don't know about you guys, but I know with us, one of the things that we're thinking through and talking through and looking at is, how do we close the back door of our church even as we open the front door for people to come? And I would even, I would think, my gosh, in a virtual environment like that, how easy it is for someone to be in and out, in and out, in and out, and no one have a clue that's going on. And maybe the mindset is just wholesale. We're not really worried about that. We're not really interested in that. All we're interested in is trying to get more content out to more people. And
there's ministries that do that. Desiring God has Don Piper sermons online, and there's a lot of great churches that offer their content, but they don't call, hey, if you watch us online, you're a part of our church.
Right.
We're just trying to get the word out. We want people to grow and be discipled, and hey, be responsible to your own local congregation. Have this as additional, but we're not your pastor. We're not your church.
Yeah.
This is not that. This is where you're our church, and you
which I will say
experience online.
Yeah. Which there are someone like Matt Chandler at the Village Church. I've watched a few of his messages online, and they have a plug at the very beginning, or at least they did when I was watching it, where they said, hey, we're thankful that you're here to watch this message. Please know our heartbeat is that this not replace you gathering together with your local body of believers and hearing from your local pastor. So be sure that you're plugged into a local body. To me, I look at that and I go, man, that's a heart that's
great.
Desires for the flourishing of local churches and local communities. So,
and I have no problem with churches live streaming their services or, offering their, sermons. I have no problem with that whatsoever. None. Right. To me, that's helpful. That's beneficial. It could be harmful in some cases, but I think there's nothing wrong with that. There's something wrong with this, and this is a totally different animal, I think.
Yeah, and I think, it's just all of it comes back to, we have replaced live experience, live whatever, with, and as cool as, here's the thing, as cool as a big screen TV is, it doesnn't replace being at a ball game. As cool as watching a YouTube video of Matt Redman in worship, a concert. It doesn't do justice to the actual thing. And so in so many ways, this is just kind of the next step, or this is probably the Christianizing of kind of what we've seen culturally, where life is experienced individually, life is experienced in isolation, and life is experienced through a screen, which, like Michael said, the research does not favor this at all.
Yeah.
But we're also kind of settling for, I hate to always use C.S. Lewis, but this is the mud pie. This is what we've settled for. We've settled for a McDonald's cheeseburger when we're offered filet mignon. And as great as it is, and I was scrolling through the app, and there's a lot of valuable things in here. But at the end of the day, a year from now, 2 years from now, is this going to leave people connected, or is it going to leave them in deeper isolation? And I again, I don't want to be the guy that's like on the lawn telling kids to stay off the grass, but God gave us a local church to be a community in life together across generations. So this kind of, for me, it piggybacks off of the whole idea of, we're just a college church. Okay, great. You need 70-year-olds to tell you to stop doing stupid things. 70-year-olds, you need 20-year-olds to tell you how to do mission in culture now. We need each other. And as much as Threads and Reddit and all of that is going to try to do on this app, and any app, we're not just picking on Judah, we're picking on anybody. We're equal opportunity player haters today.
Yeah.
Equal opportunity offender.
It cannot duplicate live community. Do you guys remember a thing that came out, like it was out 10 years ago, called Second Life?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I was in a meeting with people where there was a real discussion on whether or not to host a church campus on Second Life. And, just kind of like boggled the mind of going, okay, fake avatars in a fake worship service in a fake community.
Yeah.
I will say this. I know what Judah's doing is he's trying to create a church, because the first thing you can do is give an offering. So props to him.
I was
Well,
going to say, I mean,
go ahead, Michael.
I
What's the first thing you noticed, Michael?
The first thing I notice when you click, when you get on the app, the first thing that you'll notice is the option to give.
Right here.
Like that's not about or visit us or fax or calendar or get involved in a group or any of those things. The very, very, very first thing under your name is give, which I just, it just kind of makes you wonder, all right, what's the motive and what's the, the opportunity that you're looking for here. It just doesn't, it doesn't look good. So
what is this going to do? I mean, because there's even a place there for kids church. And so there's even a section in for children's ministry. And so they have the children's pastors giving the message, and there's things there for kids to connect with. So, okay, so let's say a family decides to do this, and they put their kids in this kids church atmosphere on their phone. So then the family is not even doing church together. They're all doing church, different parts of the house, separate on their phone. So the kids are getting, anyway, that's a whole nother concept.
You know what though? Go ahead, Dan. Finish up what you're saying, because I've got a thought on this. And
20 years from now,
smartphones
don't exist. There's a new next big thing, right? 20 years later, these kids who grew up in this kids church app system have no concept of what it is to gather with a group of people who are worshiping with one another. 20 years from now, when this model is done because it's ancient history, what do those kids do who have no concept or no pattern or no habit in their lives of actually belonging to a place where they can hold themselves accountable to? I mean, this has really bad implications for the future for those kids who are, that's all they know of church is just open up an app on your phone like Angry Birds or Minecraft or Snapchat or something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and this is what, and Michael, you're a youth ministry veteran. Dan, I don't remember if you served a sentence. Yeah, all of us have. We all
Did you say serve a sentence?
Serve a sentence, yeah. Sometimes it felt like that. But we've all done that where we saw, a lack of connectedness from not just from irregular kids in a youth group, but from regular kids, a lack of connectedness within the church body as a whole. Or you had patterns of disconnectedness that were taught at home. And so, whatever the dropout stat is, whether it's 50, 70% or greater or less, we saw so many people that had that same thing where they were never taught how to do life together with people outside of their peer group, and they fell off. And so that's what this is. As much as I love the idea of digital content and digital platform, this is a foundation on clay, because it's not going to have kind of that longitudinal result that I think everybody wants it to have, which is connectedness to Christ and with each other.
Yeah.
Michael, you were going to say something.
Yeah, and I think what will happen in this is you'll see churches who are recognizing, which I think all of us are recognizing, people are attending church less often. I think churches will look at something like this and say, okay, maybe we're not interested in a global type deal, where we're trying to reach people, all over the world through our church, because nobody knows our church name. We don't have the platform, these guys have or whatever. But what if we can have something just like this and at least capture on a weekly basis our church members? And let's try to leverage something like this so that we can reach our church people who no longer are coming, but once a month or twice a month if we're lucky. But what if we could get them to engage, to quote unquote go to church through the week at some point? I could see the trend in churches moving and trying to adopt at least some of this and incorporate it to hopefully capture and bring back, at least in their minds, people that are no longer attending as often within their church. And it gives them an opportunity to give every week as well, which, if they're not there, they may not be giving. And so keep the budgets up, man. Here's the thing. You ready, guys? Since I know that Judah Smith probably listens to our podcast,
I hope so.
I would say to Judah, your glasses are awful. Number one. I mean, I'm just saying.
It's the hipster emergent look.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, but number two, I really, really believe he has a heart to reach people with the gospel. I mean, I really do. We would disagree a lot on theological issues and things like that. But I truly believe he has a heart for people to meet Jesus, which I love, and I think that's great. Man, please, please, please sit down with some church theologians of all stripes, from all denominational backgrounds, and just ask them, what are the problems that you see in what we're doing, and search the scriptures and just reconsider. I just don't think I don't think it's helpful. I don't think it's a helpful trajectory. I would hate to see the damage that it has the potential to do in people's lives by keeping them from connecting in real life community in a local body of believers because they're told that this is enough. And I just don't think it is. So,
amen. One last thing on that before we go to our pick of the week. Warning, guys, grab something if you didn't already pick something.
Pick of the week.
So, there's also a cheesiness factor to it. I mean, not to be over hyper critical of this. I've already been very critical of it, but there's a section for prayer requests, and which is great. I mean, hey, place to share prayer requests, I don't see anything wrong with. But then while you pray, I don't know if you could, the glare is killing me, but you can't see it. But anyway, while you pray, oh, there you go. There's these two little praying hands, and they ask you while you pray to put your fingers on those two icons.
All right, I'm looking that up. I'm looking that up now.
you gotta do it. So, I mean, and I obviously I haven't done it yet because I don't want to lie and say that I'm praying. But so someone shares a prayer request and they know that you prayed by, it says press down with two fingers while you pray. And it's what that reminds me of? It reminds me of the televangelists.
Yeah, reach your hand to the screen.
Put your hand and touch my hand on the screen and pray with me. And I'm just like, oh, cheesy. Televangelist, come on, man. Is this the best we can do? I mean, seriously.
Mm.
It's just like, this is the laying on hands, that the New Testament says, we're to do with one another.
Laying on of fingers.
Laying on a finger. It's like, come on. Just so cheesy. But anyway, all right. I think enough about that. And we.
So I'm assuming, Dan, your pick of the week is not going to be a Church Home app.
No, I got to change my pick of the week now.
It's not, and I mean, this stuff. I mean, it grieves me. It really does. And I guess it's almost like taking the Amazon model, right? Which I love Amazon, right? Amazon's great, but
oh my gosh, Dan, try to delete the app off your phone.
Try to delete it?
What?
Try to delete it. Oh, never mind. Okay. I was about to say. Okay. All right.
Is that like church discipline?
It was. Yeah, I was going to say, I was trying to delete it, and for some reason I couldn't delete it. And I was like, oh man, they have hacked the Apple iOS network and figured out how to not let you delete the app once you download it.
Or give you a guilt trip before you do. Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's right. But, do you really not love Jesus? Is that why you're deleting the app? So.
But it kind of reminds me of the Amazon model, which, like I said, I love Amazon. But the tragic thing about Amazon is that it's the convenience of Amazon has taken away the local stores, right? And so people don't go shopping, and malls are suffering and closing, and and I mean it's a great convenience factor, and I love the 2-day free shipping and the price. Toys R Us has recently gone bankrupt, although they're coming back largely because of Amazon. And so I pray that the motivation behind that is not that. And it is just to reach more people, just in a terrible way. But it kind of reminds me of the tragedy of our digital age is replacing a lot of the one-on-one and experiences that we have. that anyway, it's just kind of what that reminds me of. So anyway, well, let's go to our pick of the week, guys. So who would like to begin?
I think Scott would like to begin.
Yeah, I'll go. This is something you can buy at the dollar store.
Ooh,
Yeah, and it is a sloth. And I'm not gonna lie, this has been awesome. Our children's director gave it to me, and she's like, "It's a stress sloth. You look like you could use this right now." And so rather than flip out on people, I just squeeze my little sloth, and it's good. So get you something like this. Get you this little squeezy thing. It just yeah. This is sitting on my desk, so I used it after church last night. It was a good night, but I did have to give the sloth a little squeeze before I went home. So
I like it. I like it.
Oh, I am here to take the spiritual, lofty, grandiose thing that Dan has in mind for this podcast and just crash it down to earth.
Hey, so, I think that's very acceptable.
That totally got thrown out the window in the very first episode, I believe it was, when Michael recommended a tobacco-scented candle. That will forever live in infamy.
Oh, hey,
listen, those are amazing.
Tobacco barns. Oh man, I miss the tobacco barns.
Yeah, I cannot find.
It's burning now. Look at that. He's got it burning.
Yeah. But this one is. I don't know if you can see. Fireside embers.
Oh,
it's got a little bit of Christmas smell to it. So you can burn a Christmas candle, but you can't put your Christmas lights up.
Yeah, Michael, I just I can't smell that over here, and I have a digital representation of what you got going on there, but
it's
not quite the same.
Touch the screen with your nose.
I was gonna say, touch the screen with your nose and scratch. It's like scratching
scratch and sniff. Scratch and sniff screen.
Digital scratch and sniff.
What a miracle that would be. That's what somebody needs. They need to invent a scratch and sniff app. That would be phenomenal.
That would be good. That would be
anyway.
good.
All right, Michael, what you got?
My pick of the week is a book by Carey Nieuwhof, which I enjoy listening to Carey Nieuwhof's podcast. This book is called "Didn't See It Coming." It's a good book. It's overcoming the 7 greatest challenges no one expects and everyone experiences. I've read the first chapter, and it talks about overcoming cynicism, which I can trend towards being cynical about a lot of stuff. So that was very convicting for me. And it's written at a level that I think could be used even if you're not a believer. It could be, a helpful book. And I think it's, though it does have a lot of scripture in it as well. So anyway,
very good.
Didn't see it coming. What you got, Dan?
All right, something that I'm into, which will cost you a lot of money, probably. But usually I'm the most expensive app picker.
I was going to say, Dan's app budget is unlimited, it seems.
Yeah.
But it's not an app, although it is a software feature of our phones. But it only works if you have a vehicle that takes advantage of it. So just recently, I got a new vehicle, traded in our Sienna, and I got a Chevy Equinox, however you say it. So really liking the Equinox, but one of the features that I really wanted to be in my next car, although I wasn't making my decision based on this, was Apple CarPlay. I don't know if you guys have heard of this. It's been around for a few years, but I've never had a vehicle that took advantage of it. You just simply take your phone and you plug it into the USB port on your car, and of course there's a screen there that mimics a lot of the features that are on your phone with the apps that are on your phone. Of course, it's very limited. It's limited to, of course, like Maps. But now you can also use Google Maps and Waze, all their third-party apps. And what's great about that is I would always set my phone up on my dash, up there by my clock, and then be looking at my phone and small screen, and phone would fall down. It's just very dangerous. And I possibly might have grabbed my phone to look at text messages while I'm at a red light, which is probably not the safest thing to do. Anyway, this thing is supposed to help you be safer in the car by putting the information there on your screen in a very limited fashion. And Apple CarPlay is awesome. So you could, of course, Siri works really well with it for directions, for checking your messages, for making phone calls. And also podcasts work on it as well. So it's really great to listen to podcasts and audiobooks on the go. So many of our listeners may have an Apple CarPlay already supported vehicle, but if not, when you look for your next vehicle, consider if you hear Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, great ways to be safe in your vehicle, especially if you have a temptation to constantly look at your phone. It really, really takes down the temptation to a lower degree. So,
But Dan, you would never recommend to any of our listeners to go into debt to just
No.
to get that. Yeah. I was just making
Absolutely
sure.
not.
We
No,
don't
absolutely
want to
not.
participate in ungodly behavior to any of our listeners.
Well,
So-
Dave Ramsey and I, we had this love-hate relationship.
Okay.
But if they were going to get a vehicle,
Yeah.
it could be a used vehicle. I got a used vehicle. I didn't get a new vehicle. But anyway,
Okay.
and had Apple CarPlay in it. And
There you go.
so that's what I'm into.
And
But,
and per Dave, you should pay cash for that vehicle.
If I had your salary, I probably would have.
Oh wow!
Oh,
My salary or Dave's salary? I'm
For Dave's salary.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
Dave's salary.
say that was a low blow there, Dan.
Yeah,
So.
or Neil's salary. How about Neil's salary?
Oh,
We'll
we
go
can
with
talk
Neil.
about Neil since he's not here, can't we?
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, no, I'm just kidding. But anyway, Apple CarPlay. Well,
There you go.
guys, we've wandered, and we're
To
here,
and fro, man.
I
To and
think,
fro.
almost the 1 hour mark after Scotty
Ooh.
got out of traffic.
But you know,
from-
our listeners crave our voices each week,
Yeah.
and so I'm pretty sure that they are loving this.
And we're actually 1 day late releasing this episode. So this is just a little bonus time for you for missing out on yesterday. I'm sorry, all our loyal fans. I know you were chomping at the bit. Where's that episode? Where's 39? Where's 39 at?
That's it.
And 39 means what's next, Michael?
The Big 4-0, which I have not turned. I don't think Scott has turned.
Nope.
That's the reason that I appeared on Scott's podcast, Leaders Under 40, and for
But
some
who was
reason
first? But who was
Yeah.
first?
the
And I've been
non,
on there twice.
the
I've been on there
non
twice.
under
Have you?
40 guy.
discrimination.
I've been on there
Yeah.
twice. Have you, Michael?
No, I've not been invited back after my one
Yeah.
episode.
So
That was it. So
yeah,
um,
I think Scott and I have a greater affinity than you guys do.
that's
No, I'll
probably
get you on
true.
again, Michael.
There we
I'll get
go.
you
No, we the Southern Baptist Theological Seminary. We have that in common. You throw it in Eastern in there somewhere, but anyway.
Yeah, I listen. They're producing as Pulpit and Pen has recognized a bunch of clones up there at Southern. So we don't want to get involved in all
Social
that.
justice
So,
warriors coming out of Southeastern.
that's right. Yeah, you
news,
got to watch
fake
that,
news.
man.
Anyway, guys,
Good
well,
stuff.
the big 4-0 is coming next week. Maybe we'll have something special in mind for our 40th episode.
Hey, we should do some type of giveaway.
We should.
So-
Let's give away
hey.
more of Neil's books.
Well, we could do that. Or Scott, do you think we could secure another sloth that we could give away next week?
We could totally secure a sloth, or I can give out. We can give out a sloth, or we can give out copies of our books. So I'm willing to
We can do
throw
that.
in a couple of mine. My two. If, by the way, Michael, yours on family discipleship, nailed it, knocked it out of the park. Appreciate it.
Sweet, man. If you could keep promoting that, my sales numbers are through the roof for parent-driven discipleship. So
Yeah. All right.
man,
By the way, our first giveaway, I gave away books. Our second giveaway, Neil gave away books. Looks like Scott's going to be giving away books now.
I guess
So
I need to order some books evidently. So I actually don't have any copies of my book. So I can get some of those on the way though, and we can give away a copy. So
awesome. All right,
we'll make
guys.
we'll make that work. So and all proceeds from the sale of my books go to feed hungry kids. So
You're
Yours.
hungry, kid.
my hungry kids, yeah, my two girls. So there we go.
All right. Well, App Church episode is out. So if you downloaded it, delete it. Until next time.
This is your best podcast now.